Think about it. We send thousands of texts, emails, and DMs every single year. Our relationships, our jobs, our entire social lives, so much of it happens on these little screens. But with this constant flood of digital noise, are we actually connecting? Today, we're going to dive into a timeless challenge, but with a totally modern twist: how to build real, meaningful relationships in a world that's gone digital.
Have you ever felt this? That sinking feeling when you send a message you've thought about, you've crafted it carefully, and the reply you get is just way off. Or even worse, you just get crickets. Total silence. It really makes you wonder, right? Why does this thing that's supposed to bring us closer so often just leave us feeling more disconnected than ever?
And this slide, wow, this just nails the problem. We were promised this amazing digital world, right? Constant connection, a global network at our fingertips. But what's the reality for a lot of us? Well, it's more like constant misunderstanding, an endless scroll of kind of shallow relationships, and that anxious silence you feel after you've hit send and you're just waiting.
And this gets us right to the heart of the issue, what we're calling the digital disconnect. It's this huge paradox. We have more ways to talk to each other than at any point in human history, but our connections can feel so fragile, so superficial. More connected, but less connection.
So where do we even begin to look for an answer? You might think it's some new app or productivity hack, but nope. The solution we're talking about today comes from a classic, a book written way back in 1936. We are turning to the OG of people skills, Dale Carnegie, and applying his foundational wisdom to right now.
See, the secret sauce is what Carnegie called human relations, and it's really not that complicated. It's all about respect, empathy, and having a genuine interest in other people. These are the principles that are going to fix our broken digital lives. Because here's the thing, the technology has changed completely, but human nature, not one bit.
Okay, so how do we take this old school wisdom and make it work for us today? We're going to break it all down into 3 simple rules for digital success. I want you to think of this as your personal toolkit for every single online interaction, from that important work email to just a casual DM.
We can absolutely master our digital world, but it starts with mastering ourselves. And it all boils down to understanding 3 core ideas: how we show up, how we value other people, and how we handle it when things get tricky. So let's jump into the first one.
All right, rule number 1 is all about building authentic connections. This is a huge mindset shift. It's about moving away from performing online and towards just being present. It means showing up as your real, genuine self, practicing what we'll call mindful digital etiquette, and actually using social media to connect with people, not just to broadcast your own highlight reel. So how do we actually do that? Here are 3 steps you can start using today. First, listen before you type. Really read and absorb what the other person is saying before you even think about your reply. Second, be mindful of etiquette. Simple stuff, like a prompt response, shows you respect their time. And third, don't be afraid to share your authentic self. People connect with real stories, not some perfectly polished online persona. Okay, moving on to rule number 2. Give sincere appreciation. In a world of fleeting likes and fire emojis, a genuine, thought-out compliment, man, that stands out. The trick here is to acknowledge the effort someone put in, not just the final result. And whatever you do, avoid that generic flattery that everyone can see right through.
Listen to this. It really says it all. A well-timed, heartfelt message of thanks can be extraordinarily powerful, even in the virtual world. It just cuts right through all the digital noise and makes a real human impact. It's powerful stuff.
And the difference is all in the details. You gotta be specific. Don't just type, "great job." That's so easy to ignore. Try something more like, "I was really impressed by how you handled that tough deadline with such efficiency." You see the difference? One is just generic praise, the other is meaningful recognition. It shows you are actually paying attention.
All right, our third and, let's be honest, probably the most challenging rule is this: handle conflict with grace. Online arguments can feel like walking through a minefield, right? But Carnegie's principles teach us to see disagreements differently. Not as battles we have to win, but as opportunities to understand and, believe it or not, to connect. And isn't it kind of wild how relevant advice from the 1930s is to a Twitter argument happening right now? The core principles for handling criticism, empathy, humility, respect, they're totally timeless because, well, they're fundamentally human. So here it is. Here's your playbook for digital disagreements. Before you fire off that angry reply, just pause, take a breath,
Try to actually listen and understand where they're coming from. Then acknowledge their feelings. And hey, if you messed up, just own it. A sincere apology is like a superpower online. And always, always look for that little patch of common ground you can start building from.
So, let's bring this all together. As we wrap things up, the big takeaway here isn't about mastering the latest social media algorithm or some new email trick. It's about mastering our own approach. It's about focusing on the humanity, not the technology that's just delivering the message. At the end of the day, the secret to winning friends and influencing people in this digital age, it isn't about being better at technology, it's simply about being better at being human. The apps, the platforms, they're always going to change, but the principles of genuine connection, sincere appreciation, and deep respect, those are here to stay. And that brings me to a final question I want to leave with you. Just think about the emails, the texts, the comments you're going to send out today. What is just one digital interaction that you can elevate using these principles? One conversation you can make a little more human, a little more authentic, a little more connected. Because that right there, that's where the change really begins.